As we are moving into Thanksgiving week, we are all about Thanksgiving prep and planning for the holiday. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the food hauls I did prior to the holiday, some of the meals I prepared leading up to the holiday, and my Thanksgiving menu. I hope you'll stick around. Who says you cannot have turkey in the month of November before Thanksgiving? We had a smaller turkey that was in our freezer. I've been trying to make room in my freezer for a larger turkey. Right now, one of the stores has them on sale for 69 cents a pound. That is a blowout sale. You only need a $35 purchase with that, which I know I can pick up in other specials that they have throughout the store. And I'm going to stock my freezer when I make room for some extra turkey meat. There's no reason not to have turkey all year round in other meals because right now it's one of the cheapest meats that we can purchase. So when we can grab a sale like that, you bet I'm going to make that smaller turkey earlier in November so that we can have the larger turkey on Thanksgiving and another one for the freezer. Turkey is one of those things that freezes so well. You can freeze it raw, of course, but if you need to plan ahead, like I do, to be able to travel the day before Thanksgiving and still put on a Thanksgiving meal on the day of Thanksgiving, you can pre-cook that turkey at any time. You can debone it, put it into a freezer-proof container with some of the turkey broth, and then you can just reheat that on Thanksgiving. And trust me, no one will know the difference other than you might not have as strong of a turkey smell in your house. We have done this and reheated turkey a year later, and it tastes just like Thanksgiving Day. I wanted to show you some of the great deals that I picked up today when I went to town. I was able to get 2 packs of giant orange peppers for only 99 cents. Packages of yellow squash, again, 99 cents. And those were at Dillon's. These cranberries were at Walmart, and they were 50 cents a package on markdown. I love throwing these in the freezer to cook with, but I also like to have some fresh each year so that I can make cranberry salad. And then I went to Ollie's. I'm beginning to really like that store. I got 2 cans of diced tomatoes for 89 cents. This is the same price as Aldi when I checked at Aldi. I love their spices. They are big containers. Look at this, 3.5 ounce. It's a really big container for only $1.49 for chopped onion. I usually use fresh or frozen, but I do make my own onion soup mix, and I need that for that recipe. So this is a really great deal considering the Dollar Tree. It's $1.25 for a small container. They also had large containers of paprika, again, $1.49. Large packages of chili powder, and also $1.49. I have some frozen fresh thyme, but again, I make some of my own spices. This goes in my Italian seasoning that I make from scratch that I shared in a video a few back. And it was $1.29 for thyme. And then at Dillon's, I also picked up a thing of Land O'Lakes butter. It was on sale for $3.49. I had a 65-cent rebate off of Ibotta. Ollie's also had these fresh raisins. They're so soft in the package. You can tell they are really fresh. $1.99 for 12 ounces. This is a fantastic deal. These will probably cost you about $5 in the grocery store. I also got some quick grits. I like to make these either as breakfast and as a hot cereal, or you can also make them as a side like you would quinoa or rice with your meal and add butter, garlic, all kinds of toppings. $1.49 for this 20-ounce package, which I thought was a good deal. And then I was so excited. Ollie's had Apricot preserves, yes. And they are a 24-ounce jar, only $3.59. That's a really good deal. So I got 3 for my pantry because I've shared with you I love apricots. And then they also had this red pepper and tomato soup. They also had just plain tomato soup. These were only $1.79. These are at Aldi for $4.12. I saw them right after I picked these up at Ollie's, so that's a fantastic deal. And then I also picked up a 2-pound package of pinto beans for $1.99. I'm down to only 1 jar left of these, of my dried pinto beans. I have a lot of dried beans. I mix beans and everything. We just recently had chili and I used about 3 different types of beans, but I do need some more pinto. So I'll be refilling my pantry with that. And then I have some things that are not food that I want to show you that were great deals. Many of you know I've been doing little upkeep things since I retired. Things like painting and other small projects that I can do inexpensively but give my home a refresh. And I have kicked it in high around the holidays so that I could make some of the guest rooms and some of the living areas look a little more attractive and also warmer. So let me show you what I picked up while I was out and about at some great prices. The other couple of things that I picked up at Ollie's is this 9.5 square baking pan. I had one that was similar to this. I gave it to my son so it would fit in his toaster oven. He needed something that would fit in there. Well, I need something for the same reason to fit in my toaster oven. Plus, this works really good for 2 people since there's only 2 of us still living at home. Ollie's had it for only $3.99. Now, I looked at Walmart. These were about $7.99, and I was not super impressed with the quality. This is really nice. $3.99. That was a great deal. And then I picked up some more blackout curtains. Now, I have some plate glass windows, at least the window's as big as a plate glass window. And I've had 4 curtains on it this whole time, but these are 2 blackout curtains, and they are 100 inches wide, and they're long enough for the plate glass window. So rather than have 4 curtains, 2 on each side, I'm just going to put 1 on each side. I'm not super thrilled that they were white, but I have dark paneling, so I think it will brighten up the room. And look at this. $9.99 for blackout curtains that will cover those 2 windows in my living room. And then I stopped by Lowe's because I have been painting, as some of you know, and I've been using some paint very similar to this to do some of my rooms and some of my walls. I really like it. I was able to find another one on the mismatched paint cart for $7. This is normally $16.98 if you can believe it. The last one I bought this size was on that cart for $2. That is how much that has gone up. And then I needed some black paint for some door frames and stuff. This was on, by chance, the cart for $15, and it's black, which is exactly what I needed. It is an interior kind of glossy color, which is exactly what I needed for my old-fashioned doors that I have here in the house. But are you sitting down for this? This gallon is normally $68.98. I was floored when they rang in the override. $68.98 for this? Oh my gosh, no way would I have paid that. I used to pay $15 for a gallon of paint. Then I remember when it went to $30. Now it's up to $68.98. I think I'll stick with my mistints for $15. So as I've been trying to do some of these things around the house and they all take my attention and time, I've just been making some simple things like potato soup this week that will fill our tummies, be nourishing, and be delicious while I'm getting other stuff done. So I just use my calendar that I picked up from the bank as my planner. And on each day, I write down in there what I need to get done. If I need to boil eggs for the deviled eggs, I write it down on that day. If I need to chop and prep the sweet potatoes, I write it down on that day. If I need to pre-make my cranberry sauce, since it's marinated and it can just get better for a couple of days, I write down what day to do that. And I use this so I can start prepping my foods throughout the week, because there's some things that can be done up to 3 days ahead of time, like that cranberry sauce, and it will be fine. Same with the sweet potatoes. You can chop them, put them in the refrigerator, and they keep really, really well. So I break these tasks down so that it's easier for me on my back and on the arthritis in my thumbs, so I can get this stuff done. And then the day before Thanksgiving, of course, I'm going to be traveling to pick up my son from the airport that's about 3.5 hours away and coming back. So that's why I really structure my time so that I can make sure that all that stuff is going to get done, but it's also not going to be too hard on me. And I really recommend that. Our menu right now are things like the turkey, mashed potatoes, homemade noodles, green beans with bacon and garlic, deviled eggs, rolls, gravy, cranberry sauce. And then I'm going to do like a meat and cheese tray. I'm going to do peanuts with candy corn on this table. My daughter is making some gluten-free brownies. My son is making some dairy-free, gluten-free pecan pies. I'm making a pumpkin dessert with cake, with gluten-free cake mix on top and with some walnuts on top. It's just basically like a pumpkin pie on bottom. And then we're going to have that with whipped cream. And I'm going to make a cobbler crisp type of dessert with some berries. That's going to be my menu. There's going to be 14 of us. However, I have another son and his family coming in on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So they will be here when I'm not here, but my husband will be with them. And we are going to have a smack full house this holiday season. And I'm going to be feeding them for a few days. So my menu is a little bit bigger than if it's just like 3 or 4 of us, because I know that I'm going to be utilizing those leftovers over the next few days because I have a house full of people. Just as a side note, this is what my schedule looks like as a retired person. This is what it looked like a year ago when I was working. Crazy, isn't it? I don't know how I got all of that done. I looked at that the other day and I showed my husband and I said, "Oh my gosh, would you look at how packed this was?" That's just so crazy. No wonder you all comment that I look less stressed. There's a great example of why. I hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving weekend. I appreciate all of you following me so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support, and have a wonderful, wonderful holiday.